Hey guys, welcome to my first video. This is my channel in plain English. I hope today finds you well. I hope you are well, and thank you for watching. So on this channel, I will attempt to tackle the big issues, whether there is controversy or not. I've decided to do this because I've been blessed in my life with a gift for doing so. Been blessed with a gift for bringing peace and understanding. The focus of today's video is going to be how to speak to somebody that you disagree with. And this is a very useful skill, especially in today's climate, and just in general. It honestly, it will help you as much as it helps the other person. So I would like to impart this as well as I possibly can. I'm going to start by going through the principles, and then towards the end of the video, I'll relate it to some real life scenarios where it has been used successfully. The aim here is not to impart any of my own opinions on that. I will just be speaking as objectively as I can about how that discourse went from a societal point of view. Starting with the principles that you want to keep in mind before you start an argument. More important than what you want to say is why you want to say it. And this is something to fix firmly in your mind. There is usually an emotional reason. There's usually an attachment to the person that you wish to convey this to. Maybe they're a parent, maybe they're a loved one or a friend. This is what's important to you, is that there is no misunderstanding in the love or respect that you have for this person. You're speaking to them because their understanding means something to you. And that's something that you can't detract from in yourself if you want to achieve your objective. It's very easy when the stakes are high to get emotional. It's very easy to get frustrated. You start seeing the obstinance of the person as being the one thing that is driving you apart. And within the bounds of that conversation, emotions can get heated. Because of that, it's important to always keep touch with why you wanted to start the conversation in the first place. The second thing is having a realistic expectation for where you're going to get in the conversation. So a lot of the things that we argue about or that we decide to discuss are deeply entrenched beliefs. There's usually two sides to the story. And the reason for the disagreement and the reason for the strength of the disagreement is that on both sides of that story, both people feel completely justified. So don't expect to make someone do a full 360 on what they're saying within a single conversation. It's important to know the stages. The first stage of explaining anything to anybody is de-weaponizing their beliefs. Our problems with other people's beliefs stem from the weaponization of that. They feel that the belief is so pertinent to their existence in their life that they are doing things to other people based on that belief. If during your conversation, all you manage to do is calm them down and show them that your beliefs can coexist even if they do not agree with you, that is a massive step, and you should be happy with that. The second step is going on to acceptance of the perspective. So a lot of people will go away after a conversation and think about it. The next step expresses itself as, well, I don't agree with you, but I can see why you think that. That is a very important thing for a person to understand, because mentally, if they can understand why you understand it, they have taken that paradigm within their own mind. In a small way that they're only expressing as theoretical, they understand what you understand. Nothing and no idea exists outside the self, so that part of them that takes your perspective and can understand why you have that perspective is now in them. That is a big step. The third thing is knowing these values and knowing that they may also work on you. You may change within the course of the discussion with another person. You wouldn't be able to do it if it wasn't striking a chord with you. To thine own self be true. I believe that, and I think it's important to accept that within yourself. The fourth thing, getting into the nitty-gritty, is agree with the other person with everything you possibly can agree with. And do so with compassion. From both sides of an argument, there will be objective truths that are being said, and it is important to take time to honor these objective truths. It is important to say, yes, that is true. Yes, that is a statistic. Yes, that has been shown by science. Because if you don't do this, the other person will immediately begin to think that you are deluded. If they're trying to have a conversation with you and they begin to lose faith of the fact that you have an ability to grasp reality, they will immediately start to discount you. They'll immediately start to assume, well, there's no point talking to this person. They can't even accept reality. How can they accept my concept? It's very easy when arguing to hear these truths, and if these truths don't align with the idealism of the concept that you're trying to get across, it's easy to say, yeah, but. That's a fundamental error. Definitely take time with the person to explain to them that you understand what they're saying. This also has another effect, because that person will become inherently curious as to how you can understand what they understand and still come to a different perspective. Most people are inherently curious about that. It puts their listening ears on. They will inherently try to follow that and try to understand how you can know what they know and still differ. A very important part of that rule is to do it with compassion. A lot of people don't come from a point of view of compassion when they hear the things that people say. They will immediately judge the person as having low intelligence. They will immediately judge the person as having certain attributes that they don't agree with. And this makes people cruel. Come to it with compassion. You know, a lot of the time when people disagree, it may come from a place of fear. That's a scared person that you love. That you have some stake in changing their mind. And that fear is real. It sucks. I deal with these fears a lot in my vocation. One thing that I can say about them is that a lot of the time, fears are based on a concept that hasn't been fully thought through. A lot of people in these people's lives have heard that concept and just called them an idiot. They haven't taken the time to actually speak to that person and unwind and undo the misconception that led to the fear. It is a big thing. Fear is a massive driver for us. It makes us illogical. That can actually be explained in terms of brain chemistry. If you have fear, it releases cortisol, it releases small amounts of adrenaline, which literally bypasses the frontal lobe of your brain and will make things process in the fear center. A person that has a state of fear within a concept will not be thinking about that concept properly. The other side of compassion is respect. Respect for the entire person that you're speaking to. Now, you may be engaged in a topic or conversation that is very niche. It's one part of what a person thinks. And this topic may be triggering to you. But it is very important not to let that triggering and your passion for that subject completely override everything that this person is. They probably do good in their lives. They probably work hard for their families. They probably have a positive impact on themselves and those around them. That is the expression of an amalgamation of positive things that they believe, beautiful things that they believe, and the humanity that they possess. You can never lose sight of that within the argument. If you completely discount an entire person and their entire personality, their entire belief system based on one concept, that will tell the person they don't understand me, so how can they possibly understand where I'm coming from? You can never put value in the words of a person who isn't putting a single shred of value into you. So relating all of this to a real world example that has already passed, I want to relate this type of problem solving to the gay rights movement that happened in the 2010s. Now, as a whole, the gay community had been struggling for decades with the weaponized opinions of a lot of people who saw them as an absolute evil to a point where they were acting out in fear and retaliation against gay people. The communication breakthrough happened because even though these people were abusive, as a whole the community realized these are the very people that we need acceptance from. We can't hate them, we can't go against them, and the very reason fundamentally why we want them to agree with us is because we need them to. So they never forgot what they were trying to say. They never forgot the reason for why they were speaking to these people. The first step happened a few decades earlier, where they succeeded in making most people calm and de-weaponizing that dissent. If you were alive during this time, you would know that no, society did not value, did not agree with, did not vibe with homosexuality whatsoever. It was quite toxic. But there was a pervasive belief spreading that we could coexist, that it didn't matter personally to our lives that some people wanted to be with the same gender. And that was the first part of the argument that got de-escalated, calming people down. A very valuable step. The next step was acceptance and uptake of the perspective. And this is when society as a whole began to say, you know what, I don't agree, but I can see how they do. I can see how you could be born loving one gender. They would say to themselves, I may be straight, and I could never imagine not being with a woman. I could never imagine not sharing my life with my wife. Perhaps it's the same for them. And this represented them taking on the paradigm and understanding it within their own brains, which led to the think tank that led to the eventual acceptance and widespread celebration of gay people. Wherever the gay community could, they agreed, and they agreed with compassion. They agreed with the issues that were leading to dissent. They read the Bible. They found the Bible verses. A lot of us would have seen this happening online, and it was quite a beautiful protest. They took time to address the fears. They took time to address the fact that you are born gay, that you can't turn the children gay. And this pervasive belief, with compassion, addressed the fears of people that were driving off of a base of fear. The result, of course, being that in 2016, gay marriage was legalized in America. And even though it had been legal in many other countries and the acceptance was leading up to that point, that was a big milestone. I'd say at that point, the homosexual community was over the hump. I would not say that the LGBTQ community is over the hump. There are definitely many demographics within there with a long way to go. But I think that the way the homosexual community handled their image and handled that argument is an exemplar that can be used and applied to any argument that anybody needs to have. I'll finish this with saying that you will meet people that will never agree with you, and you will meet people with viewpoints and worldviews so completely alien and so completely founded in different information that even these steps will not work on those people. It's important to know that they do exist, when to cut and run, and it's also important not to let that experience project onto other people that share the viewpoint that started the argument. For example, if you were arguing about race relations with an actual Nazi, it's important to know that the average person who disagrees with you on, say, BLM or other race issues is not as far gone as the Nazi, and you can't project that experience onto them. You can't project the experience of those who can't be saved onto those who can. Always proceed with your highest ideal. Always proceed with compassion and love. And always remember why you want people to understand each other. All the best in your lives. If this has helped one person, I'll be happy. Please like and subscribe and share this video to anybody that you think may need to hear it. Signing off with much love.